Welcome to LearnHowToQuilt.com. Here's a quick and easy quilt that's perfect for beginners. Using these pre-cut charm squares and this junior jelly roll pack will save time and help you with cutting accuracy. Here's a list of the topics covered in this video. Below are the links to these if you want to skip ahead. This is a fun project to work on, so come on in and let's get started. Today's video is part of our Same Quilt, Different Technique series. In these tutorials, you get to review a variety of ways to make the same quilt pattern and learn why you would pick one method over the other. This decision is often based on your fabric choice, your quilting tools, and your skill level or preferred sewing method. So today's method works best with pre-cut fabrics. Using your sewing machine and rotary cutting tools will speed up the time spent on this project that's perfect for all skill levels, from beginner quilters to more advanced. I'll be referring to these handouts throughout the series. You can download these free handouts at LearnHowToQuilt.com. Search under Corner Square Quilt, or you can click on the links below. This quilt is made up of 42 6.5-inch blocks, finished size. They're actually 7 inches before you sew them together. Each block starts off with the 5-inch charm square and then 2.5-inch wide jelly roll strips on 2 of the sides. You'll need 42 5-inch squares for this quilt. Since most packs of charm squares contain 42 squares, you only have to buy one pack. You might end up with a pack with only 40 squares inside of it. So instead of buying a second pack, I just cut 2 5-inch squares from my fabric scraps at home. Now these jelly rolls with 2.5-inch strips come in packs of 40, or you can get a junior jelly roll pack of only 20. For this quilt, you'll use less than 20 strips, so you'll want to buy the smaller pack. You can also cut your own 2.5-inch strips from 1 yard of fabric. Now this video just shows you how to make the top, but in order to complete your quilt, you'll also want to purchase batting and fabric for your backing and binding. Check out our encyclopedia entry if you'd like to find out more information about choosing batting and making binding. I've left a link below. Now when choosing your pre-cuts, you might want to stay away from directional fabric. That's fabric that has lines in it or other geometric prints, because these can make laying out your quilt difficult. Now you might be saying, well, isn't that directional fabric right there? You've got the bird and these flowers and they're all in one direction. Yes, it is directional fabric, and probably it would be better to sew this like I did the scrappy version, but we'll experiment with these today. Now this handout was set up for folks using directional fabric. Blocks have to be made in one of these configurations based on their positioning in the quilt. First the quilt is laid out, and then each block is sewn individually. This block with the bird is sewn like block A, and it will remain upright if it's put in any of these A positions on the quilt. Now, if I turn this block like B, it'll fit in these B positions, but the bird won't remain upright. I think it's okay to have this turned in any direction, but if this bothers you, then make sure there's no directional fabrics in your pre-cuts. Fabric that's not directional, like this block, will work in any of those positions. So you see it's sewn like the A block, but if I move it to B, it still works. If I move it to C, it still works. And if I put it in the D position, it'll work there. If you want your blocks to be in a certain direction, check out the first video in this series where you lay out first and then sew. In today's video, you'll sew first and then lay out. You'll be using assembly line sewing for this project, but before I get too carried away, I like to make a test block. So I'll take one strip and place it over the top of one of the squares, right sides together. I'm not sure if you can see it, but the selvage is right here, so I don't want to line up the selvage with the edge. I put that a little over the edge. And when I'm lining up this pinking sheared cut, I want to line up this edge all the way to the end here. And you might be wondering why this isn't sheared on the edge. And that's because I kind of cheated and I cut these out on my own. I'm not using that Jelly Roll pack. So it's okay if you decide to cut 2.5-inch strips on your own like this. I'm using dark colored thread so you can see, but you'll want to use a more neutral colored thread. And I'm starting with what I call a leader. And then I'll just put this in, sewing a 1/4-inch seam. I don't use any pins. I'll just sew that all the way to the end here and stop. Now I took this over to the iron and I press my seam towards the square. We move this back and we'll rotary cut this. I want to line the edge of my ruler up with the edge of the teeth on this square. Do the same on this side. Line this up with the teeth. Line this edge up down here with the strip, and then I'll trim. There's my piece. So I'll take my strip, and now this is a cut edge. There's no selvage here. So I can line that up with the top of my square. And I want this to go over to the edge of these teeth. I don't want to be able to see any of them. I'll just send it right through. I just sew down to where this attaches. I've pressed the seam towards the square, and now I'm lining this up. I need to have a 7-inch block. So when I line this up on my mat, I've got these lines here that I can go by. If I see that it's off just a little, because this is probably 6 and maybe 15/16, it's not quite 7, but when I trim this, I want to trim right on that line. So there's my 7-inch block. I can check it on my mat, or I can use this pattern to check it. So since my first square looked good, I'm ready to assembly line sew. Got my strip here, and I'm going to place my square right over the top of it, and I've got extra up on top because of that selvage. I'm ready to stitch. When I get to the end of one, I'll pick up my next square, put right sides together, and let's see, let's get that needle down. If I can butt this not right up next to it, but pretty close to it, like so. Line that up along the edge. Take the next one, line it up, and sew. I'll continue in this manner until I get to the end of my strip. So I've got a little extra at the end of this strip, but that's okay. I'm going to go on to my next strip here. Feed that in so that it picks up on that selvage. Pick up my next square. I put right sides together and I stitch. I'll continue sewing like this until my whole pile has been stitched. Take your strips to the ironing board. Press down on top of those seams. That gets the threads to nestle down between those fabrics. And then pull this back and I'll press. Pull the next square back and then press. Now you can see right here, I've pressed some of that fabric in there, so be careful to make sure that you don't get any tucks in here. So pull this back and press. You can see that by putting this square on top like this, when you pull it back, those seams are going to be pressed towards the square. After everything's been pressed, you'll want to line this 2.5-inch strip up with one of the lines on your mat, and then you're ready to trim. Make sure that your ruler lines up with the edges of those teeth, and then line up these horizontal lines on my mat or on the fabric here, and then I cut. And I'll continue cutting these apart. Sometimes it'll just cut apart like that, but other times I'm going to need to cut a little space in there. I cut. Let's come over here. Cut this little edge off. So as I cut them, I want to stack them up. I'm ready for the next step. Here's my stack over at the sewing machine along with the rest of my strips. And I'll take one of these and put right sides together, and I'll stitch. Pick up the next one, put right sides together, and I'll stitch. Now you notice that I've put the strip on the top here and the square on the bottom. It's okay if you decide to sew the square on the top with the strip on the bottom. When you finish one strip, you want to pick up another strip with right sides facing you, then put right sides together and continue to assembly line sew till all your squares have been added. Take your strips over to the ironing board and just like before, place your squares on top. Register those seams by pressing down and then flip the square back and press. You want this seam to be pressed towards the square. After pressing, line up your piece with the lines on your mat. Then rotary cut the sections apart. And here's the 7-inch block. Refer to your handout when laying out your blocks on a table or a design wall. I like to start laying out pairs of squares that meet in the corners. In this sample, the pairs are the same fabric, but that's not necessary. In this sample, some of the pairs are the same and some are different, but all the pairs are grouped by value. Lights go with lights and darks with darks. The dark diagonal rows are running northeast to southwest, and the lights go from northwest to southeast. I continue adding blocks until I find a pleasing arrangement, and then I take a photo for future reference. Sew the blocks in rows and then sew the rows together. And here's my top. When you look closer, you can see that not all of my squares are consistent with the direction of the print. I'm okay with that for this quilt, but if you're not, you'll want to view the first video in this series where you learn how to successfully use directional fabric by sewing your blocks individually. You might also want to check out the next video in this series where you'll learn about the best technique to use when using just 2 to 3 fabrics. After I completed this quilt, I decided to add a border to make it larger. Of course, I made another video about this mitered border. You'll find the links to all of these videos below. Hope you stay tuned. Please visit our website, learnhowtoquilt.com, for more free quilting videos. Thanks.